with Nonprofit Chat. And today we have Helen Kirschbaum and Renee Siegel of the Goodwin Holocaust Museum and Education Center. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you. It's nice to be here.
Now, you're both former teachers, and Renee, you have an especially interesting story for us because you are the daughter of a survivor of the Holocaust.
Yes, that's right. Both of my parents were survivors.
So let's start by talking about, we hear the term Holocaust, and I know what it means for myself, but a lot of people don't understand it, and to the point that we've also had people start to deny that it ever occurred. So what is the Holocaust?
Well, I can speak from a personal background that the Holocaust, for me, taking it out of historical context, means the loss of my family. I grew up not having a grandmother or a grandfather or aunts and uncles or any extended family. So to me, the Holocaust was the loss of family, significant loss of family through very, very horrible circumstances.
All right, and I know this show is probably going to be difficult for you, and it's a very difficult subject. Helen, can you put it, we've heard the personal aspect, which is that total isolation, that you don't have a family you can turn to. But in the broader sense, what is the Holocaust?
So in simple terms, it was a period in history that took place during World War II when Adolf Hitler and the Nazis decided to cleanse society of all Jews, of all homosexuals, of all people with disabilities, and over 6 million Jews were killed, Jehovah's Witnesses were killed, there were 5 million other people killed because of the hatred that was allowed to go out of control during the Holocaust. And so we want people to remember not only these personal stories, but what can happen when hatred is allowed to rule a society, which is really, in essence, what happened during the Holocaust.
And I also know they exterminated many of the gypsies also.
Yes, they did. There were, beyond the 6 million Jews who were killed, there were 5 million other people.
Okay.
Those were homosexuals, they were gypsies, Jehovah's Witnesses, people who were brave enough to stand up and say, oops, that's not right. They did that and risked their own lives in doing it. If they tried to help someone, they could also be killed.
Okay.
So it was a very dark time in our history, and it was a genocide of unmatched proportions. But sadly, genocide still occurs in today's world.
And that's part of the mission of your Holocaust Museum and the Education Center, so that people don't forget that this happened. And even the very simple act of bullying can lead towards this hatred, these problems that we saw then.
Absolutely. We're very fortunate. Our museum is located in Cherry Hill, New Jersey, and it's the only Holocaust museum in the state of New Jersey. So it's filled with personal artifacts from local survivors and their families who are in the area. And all of these artifacts help us to share all of the history that took place during that period. But it also helps us to do exactly what you said, work towards our mission of achieving acceptance of diversity and treating people who may be of a different religion, a different skin color, different ethnic background, the same way that you would want to be treated. And it may start with acts as simple as bullying that grow to a much worse extreme. And so we start with children when they're very young, talking to them about how to prevent bullying, what you do when you see someone being bullied, what you do when you're bullied, and how to stop that from growing and becoming a worse problem.
Okay. We started off with Renee talking about that she is a child of a survivor, but we haven't defined what is a survivor and why is it so important that we recognize these individuals and the stories that they tell.
Well, it's important to recognize that a survivor, to my definition, is not just someone who went through the concentration camps. A survivor is someone who came out at that time from Europe and either had to escape in the middle of the night from their home to go to another country without any of their belongings or securities. Maybe had to be hiding in the forests. Maybe were in the camps. Maybe were taken and separated from their family and hidden in a home, in a righteous family's home.
Okay.
But there was a disruption in their normal life, and they had to deal with the trauma of that disruption and separation.
Now, you've used a term that many people may not be familiar with, a righteous family. What does that mean?
Some people have actually said righteous Gentile, a righteous family, a family that was not Jewish, that took the risk of hiding Jewish individuals, perhaps Jewish children, and incorporating them into their family. My mother, who was the oldest of 9 children, had a brother 1 year younger than her who was hidden in the attic bathroom of what I call a righteous family. They risked their lives to have him there, and he did survive.
Okay. And I know the movie Schindler's List did a lot towards identifying individuals who did help to save the Jews during the Holocaust.
There were a lot of righteous people who helped during the Holocaust, whether they saved individuals like Renee's mother's brother, or they saved families. There were politicians who saved large groups. Sadly, there were just never enough people to help. And had more people helped, there would have hopefully been fewer killings. But we're forever grateful to the people who risked their lives to save even one person.
Okay.
There have been lots of stories. There's Irina Sendler, who was a Polish Catholic social worker who went in and saved thousands of children from the Warsaw Ghetto. And her story, was not known well and became known with the help of high school students in Kansas who did research and met her and enabled the world to know how she risked her life to help these children.
Now, I believe they memorialize these individuals at Yad Vashem in Israel, correct?
They have. Each individual who has been recognized as a righteous, in Israel they call them righteous among the nations.
Okay.
And each one is memorialized there. There's also a memorial in the Holocaust Museum in Washington, D.C. that identifies all of the righteous members who were identified in the Yad Vashem, which is the Holocaust Memorial Museum in.
We are coming up on a commercial break, so when we come back, we'll talk a little bit more about Yad Vashem. We'll talk about the educational programs and some of the resources that you provide.
Thank you.
For independent living for seniors age 62 and over, People Inc. offers safe, maintenance-free apartments across Western New York. The affordable rent is income-based. For more information, call People Inc. Senior Living at 817-9090.
Looking for a cooking oil with a light flavor and reduced absorption so food preserves its natural flavor? One with a high smoke point for stir-frying, sautéing, grilling, and baking? Then choose all-natural Pompeian 100% grapeseed oil, imported from France. Grapes have been a key ingredient of the healthy Mediterranean diet for years. Pompeian 100% grapeseed oil is the chef's choice for high-heat cooking, grilling, stir-frying, sautéing, or even deep frying. And Pompeian 100% grapeseed oil is great for baking too, because its delicate taste does not overwhelm the flavor of cakes, cookies, and other favorite recipes. A key traditional ingredient of the Mediterranean, grapeseed oil is a rich source of vitamin E antioxidant and naturally gluten-free. Buy imported Pompeian 100% grapeseed oil today and find great recipes at Pompeian.com.
Wait, don't let this happen to you. At Jan Fence, we're family owned and operated for over 50 years, providing a wide choice of fencing. Why wait online at the big box store? Just call Jan Fence. Ask about our Easy Fence to Go products by Active Yards, the first truly do-it-yourself fence product.
At Jan Fence, we always do what we say. Come see us today.
Step into an extraordinary world that will excite your senses. Experience our delectable Mughlai cuisine and the magic of tandoori savoir.
And this is Ira Weissman with Nonprofit Chat. And we're back from break now. And today we have Helen Kirschbaum and Renee Siegel from the Goodwin Holocaust Museum and Education Center. When we stopped, we were talking about Yad Vashem, which is the memorial for the Holocaust victims in Israel, and some of the individuals who helped to save the Jews during the Holocaust. What we'd like to talk about is the resources that you provide to the community to help people so that they understand what happened and its applicability to today's society. So you have the museum. Is it a full-blown museum, or?
It is a large room. We've sectioned it off to talk about different aspects of what went on during the Holocaust. A little bit before, during, we have a section that talks about the righteous rescuers who we had talked about before. We have a case that talks about the concentration camps. And we also talk a little bit about what happened after the war with the Nuremberg trials and the genocides in Darfur. But we're very proud that our education center extends well beyond the four walls of our museum. And by that I mean we offer the opportunity for Holocaust survivors to meet with school students and with community organizations. And the school groups can come to our museum and the survivors will talk to them there, or we can go to the schools, and we work the same way with the community organizations. We're often called by church groups or women's auxiliaries, Boy Scout troops, to take advantage of this firsthand eyewitness testimony that survivors are able to offer.
And let me ask you a question, and it may be a hard number to pin down, about how many survivors are there in the area? Because if we're talking about World War II, they're starting to age significantly.
They're all in their late 80s, early 90s. We're very, very lucky in the South Jersey community that there are probably still 150 to 180 survivors still alive. But you need to understand that doesn't mean that there are 150 to 180 survivors who are able to talk to groups. Mm-hmm. I would say on any given day, I could probably call on maybe 15 to 20 survivors who are available and able to speak. Speaking to students or to any group brings back such terrible memories for most survivors that it's difficult for them to do. But they all realize how important it is for them to educate today's children, because they're going to be tomorrow's leaders. And they do it out of a sense of responsibility, but will tell you they have nightmares before they go and nightmares when they come home.
I'm sure. Now, there's another part to your programs where younger individuals adopt the survivors to carry on their stories, and can you tell us about that?
Right. There are lots of other parts to our educational programming.
Okay, well, we'll try to get through as many as possible.
But you're referring to what we call the Adopt a Survivor program, and that's when a student takes the time to get to know one individual survivor in greater detail. And they learn about them on a personal level and also learn some of their history. And then they pledge to share that survivor's story with other people, and most especially in the year 2045, which would be the 100-year anniversary of the liberation of the camps and the end of World War II. And clearly we know there won't be any survivors with us to share their stories, their own stories at that point.
Now, you also have worked with some of the local playhouses, and there's some plays that are based on the Holocaust, and can you tell us about some of those?
Sure. We actually do some of the performances at our center, and we also go to schools and put on the performances. There's one called Dear Esther, which is the true story of a Holocaust survivor from South Jersey who very sadly passed away earlier this week. But it's the true story of her participation in an escape from a concentration camp, and how she shares her experiences with students and shows them that you can survive no matter what. You can change your life. You can build your life from nothing. That's probably one of the most intense performances that we offer. We also partner with Haddonfield Plays and Players, and they put on a show called Number the Stars each year. And we've been sending survivors to talk to the students after each of their performances. So it's a real great combination. Number the Stars is also based on a true story of how righteous people in Denmark helped to save some of the Jews by hiding them in fishing boats. For younger kids, there's a performance that's actually a puppet show called The Town That Fought Hate. And that's, again, a true story. Because even though we're entertaining, we're educating.
And what is this, The Town That Fought Hate? What's that about?
That's based on an incident that happened in Billings, Montana, where a hate group was harassing Jewish families and African American families and American Indian families during the holiday period about 20 years ago, and how the town responded. And it's a great way to teach kids that you can do things when you see something wrong going on around you. You can make a difference. You don't have to just stand by when you see someone being treated with hatred. And so we're thrilled to be able to offer that for younger children, because shows about the Holocaust are too intense for, third, fourth, fifth graders. But certainly it's appropriate to be talking to all of them about the consequences of hatred.
And I know there's a show that's done that's based on Anne Frank's life, but it's from a different perspective. And can you tell us about that?
Right. That one is wonderful. Also, that's a performance where they use historical footage, and we have an actress who acts in conjunction with what's going on in the historical footage. The actress portrays the part of a friend of Anne Frank's. And so she's able to bring this history alive, as well as bring it down to the level of students and make it a personal story. So we've been really pleased with all of the performances that we've been able to find. There are lots of Holocaust stories out there, but we've found that these offer both the most hope and also the opportunity for so many different lessons in life's attempt to make sure that everyone is treated equally.
Okay. Now, there's also what's called a Student Butterfly Project.
We have a wonderful group of volunteers who work with us And there's a program that one of the volunteers does, who's an art teacher, and she goes to the classrooms, or again, the kids may come to us. She does a lesson on the Holocaust, and then she makes origami butterflies with the kids and helps them to decorate them and create their own individual butterflies. At that point, once the butterflies have been created, there's a Holocaust museum in Texas that is trying to collect 1.5 million butterflies in memory of the 1.5 million children who were killed during the Holocaust. And so we encourage the students to, and the schools, to send those butterflies to add to that collection.
Okay. And again, I want to come back to that number that you just stated. There were 1.5 million
children killed during the Holocaust. Innocent children who we know did no one any harm, who we know were just kids playing in the streets, playing in the yards, in their parents' arms. And they were killed, in most cases, because they were Jewish.
And unfortunately, we need to take a commercial break. So we'll be back in a couple of minutes. We'll be talking about a little more about the Resource Center, and then there's an event coming up tomorrow night, which is the Remembrance. So,
thank you.
Let our international award-winning team delight you with a taste of heaven. Enjoy our mouth-watering flavors and our unique flair for excellence. Savor the elegance of fine dining and catering. Shazam Restaurant. Indulge your taste buds.
In a world where bankers have lost all interest, where robots and fat cats rule our fortunes, one woman will stand up and strive to do the impossible. Be treated like a person. Friends and neighbors will join her quest. Ordinary people will band together against the forces of corporate greed. And together they will form Philadelphia Federal Credit Union, already in a neighborhood near you.
Imagine the finest hand-selected USDA prime steak you'll ever have. The freshest line-caught seafood, our Wine Spectator award-winning wine list, and soul-satisfying desserts. Bring that together with the perfect date, the winning business deal.
and this is Ira Weissman with Nonprofit Chat. Today we've got Helen Kirschbaum and Renee Siegel from the Goodwin Holocaust Museum and Education Center, and we've been talking about some of the resources that is available through the Museum and Education Center. And you have a guest reader program also, and you want to tell us about that?
Sure. We have a guest reader program. We have a core group of volunteers, mostly retired teachers. We go to local elementary schools. And the children there are too young to be learning about the Holocaust, but they're not too young to be learning about character building, about ideas of tolerance and accepting differences in other children, and learning to get along. So we take theme-related books that relate to these issues that I just talked about, and we will have a reading session with the children, which prompts conversation. As young as pre-K. We've gone into the Barclay Early Childhood Elementary Center here in Cherry Hill, and we've also gone into other elementary schools throughout the South Jersey area. And we do that in November when we have the New Jersey Week of Respect. A lot of schools will invite us in at that point. And also this time of year, and in March when we have Read Across America. So that's another resource that schools can call upon us for.
And what are some of the key learnings that you hope the children gain from these readings?
Well, hopefully what they learn is how to get along with each other. If they were to come across incidents of bullying, how they could handle it, where they should turn. But we also try to focus on the positive of how to be kind to each other. And we talk about ways of being kind to each other. What would be an example of what you could do if a new child came into your classroom? Or if you saw someone sitting alone at the lunch table? And it sparks conversations. And a lot of the children can relate to these incidences, unfortunately. And they can talk about how they would want to be treated. So we usually have some very, very productive, positive conversations.
Okay, that's great. And Now, besides the student programs, you also have programs for teachers, and you act as a resource for them. Can you quickly tell us about them, because there's one more subject we want to talk about, and I do want to hit that before the end of the show.
We're happy to work with teachers. We do offer teacher training programs. We partner with the Anti-Defamation League because they've developed a wonderful curriculum called Echoes and Reflections that helps teachers to incorporate survivor testimony into their lessons. But there are many times that we get phone calls from teachers that say, you know, I have to teach about the Holocaust. I've never really done it. What should I do? Where should I start? What books can we use? And we meet with them also on an individual basis and have experienced teachers who can give them some support, give them some direction, point them towards resources that are helpful. And we have a lot of those resources available in our center. So the combination of the training sessions that we offer, we also have a bus trip that we take teachers to the Holocaust Museum in Washington, D.C., which is a great experience for teachers to go with other educators and with Holocaust survivors and spend the day at the Holocaust Museum in Washington. And to walk through that museum with survivors is not forgettable.
Yeah, it's very striking.
And I think inspires teachers to do even more in their classrooms.
Now, I was very lucky that you were able to come on today, because tomorrow there's a very significant event going on. And can you tell us about that?
Well, tomorrow night is the Yom HaShoah, Holocaust Remembrance Day observance. It's going to be...
Now, what is Yom HaShoah?
Yom HaShoah in Hebrew is the day of the Shoah. Shoah is the Hebrew word for Holocaust.
Okay.
So the observance will take place at the JCC in Cherry Hill.
That's on Springdale?
Springdale and Crescent Road.
Okay.
It starts at 7 o'clock tomorrow night. It is free and open to the community.
And what will occur during this observance?
Do you want to describe more what will occur?
Sure. So we're very fortunate to have Martin Greenfield joining us tomorrow night. Mr. Greenfield is a Holocaust survivor. He was in Auschwitz as well as Buchenwald. And he's talking not only about his experiences during the war, but also after the war he came to the United States. He started working in the garment industry and now owns his own tailoring business and has had the opportunity to work with some of our former presidents of the United States and work with some of the movie stars. And so it's really inspirational to see how he went from nothing to build himself this new life. He just came out with a new book, Martin Greenfield, from, I don't remember the exact title of the book, but do you remember it?
It is, and it caught my eye because of what it is that he does, The Measure of a Man.
There you go. And so he's going to share some of the experiences from his book with us tomorrow night. We also have a very special candle lighting service where we remember the 6 million Jews who were killed and have 6 of the survivors from our community light candles in memory of those whom they've lost. And that way we're able to talk a little bit about some of the survivors in our community.
Okay, so I want to do 2 things. One, repeat about the observance tomorrow, and also how do people get a hold of you if they want to find out more, or they want to have you come out or somebody come out to do a Holocaust, either reading or something else about the Holocaust. So again, what is the event tomorrow evening?
Okay, so tomorrow night is the Holocaust Memorial Observance. It is taking place at 7 p.m. It will be inside the Katz Jewish Community Center, which is located on Springdale and Crescent Roads in Cherry Hill. There is no charge. It is open to the entire community, and we hope that people will come to join us to remember the many people who were killed, to honor those who survived, and to thank those who helped and were righteous during the war. If you're not able to come tomorrow evening, but you would like to contact us to make arrangements for a Holocaust survivor to speak to your students or to your community organization, if you're a teacher and you need help, you can go to our website, which is jcrcsnj.org. That's the abbreviation for Jewish Community Relations Council of Southern New Jersey. Or you can call the office, which is 856-751-9500, and ask for me, Helen Kirschbaum.
Okay, so let's repeat those, the website and your phone number again.
Okay, so the website would be jcrcsnj.org. The abbreviation for Jewish Community Relations Council of Southern New Jersey. And the phone number is 856-751-9500.
Ellen, Renee, thank you so very much for coming on today. We greatly appreciate it. Hopefully you'll have a very large turnout and that people do not forget what had happened and apply the lessons going forward so it never does happen again.
Thank you. We hope you're right.
This is Ira Weissman. If you need help with strategic planning, policies and procedures, succession planning, or putting metrics in place to show your funders that you truly are accomplishing what you said you were going to do, please feel free to reach out to me. You can reach me via email at idea.innovations, innovations, @live.com. Thank you very much and have a great day. Goodbye.